Hi, I'm Jon Rasmussen, and I'd like to discuss with you today December 21st, 2012, widely known as the end of the Mayan Calendar. What does that mean? What should we be doing about it? And what to expect? Now, everything in nature and all of creation runs in cycles. There's the birth and death of whole galaxies and stars and planets. And everything in nature goes through a cycle. There's the cycles of the seasons, there's the cycles of growth, death, and rebirth. And so when we think about this particular date, the solstice, the winter solstice of the year 2012 and December 21st, the Mayans were experts at measuring these cycles. They measured cycles on an astronomical scale. And we are coming to this date where that is the end of one of the major cycles and the beginning of a new one. And so the opportunity is for us as humanity and how we interact with all of nature, of all of creation, to take advantage of this shift, of this change of cycles, and do things potentially differently, to evolve, to look at things differently, to, accept a new way of being, possibly. And so all that is what we've been going through now. These cycles have a kind of period for a number of years before the end and a number of years after the beginning of the new cycle. It isn't something that happens immediately in one moment. And we have been going through this. This is widely known by many of the cultures, indigenous cultures, some modern shamans who have the ability to see things that other people don't. We've been going through this change, if you will, this opportunity to look at how we're doing things, to determine whether or not this is working, and then to try things differently. This is the normal evolutionary process. So I believe we're in the middle of that process. And this is why we've seen some upheaval in the world. We've seen changes in the earth and climate patterns. We've seen changes in the way that we look at economics and politics and social issues of all kinds. And so we are now really at a time where we have the choice to make. And this is happening not only on a grand scale, but it's happening within individuals. I see this in all of my clients, and I see this in people everywhere, that internally and psychologically, people are beginning to recognize the end of a cycle and the beginning of a new cycle. And so it can be a little frightening. We tend to wrap stories around these times. We tend to create these apocalyptic visions of what it means to let something go and to do something in a new way. But I think the most important thing is to not allow ourselves to be frightened, not allow ourselves to wrap a bigger story around it than is really necessary, that's really happening. The truth is that December 22nd will roll around and everything will look and feel and seem the same. There isn't going to be an external event necessarily. Nobody is out there that's going to sort of push a button that's going to wake everybody up. This is an ongoing process of awakening, and it happens naturally. There isn't anything outside of nature. To shamans, there is only nature in its physical and its non-physical forms. And so we are looking at a very natural process. And these natural processes tend to occur over time. They tend to be a little bit messy. It isn't so cut and dry. And so as humans in particular, sort of one of the most complex forms in nature, certainly on all levels of our being, the psychological, the deeply subconscious, the physical, the energetic, we are going through this shift, this change, because we're influenced by everything around us as well. So we're influenced by the stars and the planets. We're influenced by climate. We're influenced by all the beings, the stone people, the plant people, all creatures of the earth. And because we're all connected. We're all connected. And so these influences are working on us. We're influencing them. And so December 21st, 2012 is really the opportunity as an end of a cycle to begin to recognize that those influences exist, that there's things that we can do to either keep influences around us or build influences that help and serve us, and to let go of or stay away from influences that don't serve us. And this is really our choice. There's nobody making this choice for each and every individual. This is your choice. So what I would encourage is to take advantage of this cycle. There are some theories that different times of the day are appropriate for doing different things. You know, we have certain cycles in our body that help us to either be more alert or more inwardly focused throughout different times of the day. And so on this grand scale, this is also true. And so I think that the December 21st, 2012 phenomenon, the end of this galactic astronomical cycle and Earth cycle, is a perfect time for us to go within and figure out what it is that we can now shift, what it is that we can let die and be reborn to. What's the new story? What's the story you'd prefer to be experiencing? And begin to really look at that and focus on that. And do ritual, do ceremony, do the things that we as shamans know reach deeply into our mythic and energetic being, our subconscious, and help us to shed old stories, help us to shed old patterns. And so this is really the opportunity here, and this is the opportunity that my Karo teachers, the Mayans, the Hopi, many of the Eastern traditions, even the Western traditions speak of. And so we now have the opportunity to take advantage of this change of cycle. And I hope that you do, and I hope that you do it in terms of a very positive light. You know, when you go to bed at night, you're not dreading the fact that the day is over. You're sleepy, you're tired, you go to bed to dream, to sleep, and the new day, the next day, you're up and you're ready to start the new day. And so these cycles are something that we're familiar with. I think we as a Western culture get concerned about the longer cycles. We get concerned about physical death. But in the Eastern and shamanic traditions, we recognize that too is just a transition. That our soul, our consciousness, who we really are, goes non-physical for a while and then is anxious to get back and play in the theater some more. So likewise, this cycle that is known as the end of the Mayan calendar, and the December 21st, 2012, is another opportunity for us to move from one story to the next.